Would you introduce yourself first? Tell us your name and your DOC number.
My name is Antone Henderson, DOC number 771426.
So that's correct. And let me introduce the panel to you. My name is Cheryl Renatza. This is Mrs. Jerry Ledoux seated to my right, Mr. Pete Freeman seated to my left. You have counsel with you this morning. I'd like counsel to introduce herself for the record.
Antala Baker.
And we also have your mother, I believe, Miss Melba Parks, who's here, and she wants to speak on your behalf. So, Mr. Henderson, I'll read the allegations against you, after which we'll ask you to enter a plea of guilty or not guilty. Mr. Freeman will have some questions for you. We'll hear from your mother, Miss Parks, and you'll be allowed to make a statement before we turn it over to Miss Baker for her presentation. All right, you ready?
Yes, ma'am.
So you're accused of violating the conditions of your parole, and it's condition number 4. And it states you engaged in criminal conduct as evidenced by your November 8, 2023 arrest by St. John Sheriff's Office for resisting an officer by flight, resisting an officer by flight, resisting an officer by refusing identity, and domestic abuse battery. The video from the location at the time of the incident shows you striking the victim in her head. You did not appear to be in any danger or distress at that time. Docket 2023 MM 68426, St. John Parish, misdemeanor domestic abuse battery, and 3 counts of resisting an officer. The domestic abuse battery was not processed, and you pled guilty to 3 counts of resisting an officer on December 11, 2023. So how do you plead to violating condition number 4?
What is violating number 4? I don't understand.
All that I just read to you about criminal activity.
Not guilty. No, I don't think I'm guilty.
You say not guilty,
Yes,
right?
ma'am.
Okay,
Yes,
good.
ma'am.
Would you answer Mr. Freeman's questions?
Yes, ma'am. I will answer some more questions.
Okay.
All right, Mr. Henderson. Was this the first time you were arrested since you've been on supervision?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so you didn't get arrested in 11/8. This is when this happened. 11/8/23 is when this happened?
Yes, sir. That's my first time.
Okay, so you've been in jail since November?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Hey, I got 2 questions for you, and I believe everybody wants to know. First off, what was the fight about between you and your girlfriend?
Yeah, we wasn't really no fight. She called me early in the morning to come pick up from Baton Rouge, and I picked her up. And once we made it to the gas station, she talking about, "Oh, that's my lick back from the other day." And then she went in the store, and I'm like, she went in the store. So I walked in the store, and she like, "Don't come in the people's store with all that playing. Wait till I get out the store." I'm telling her, "I'm not about to wait till we get out of these people's store. They can't tell us how not to play with each other. We always play like this." I said, "I'm getting my lick back." And I got my lick back, and I ran out the store and jumped in the car. And I waited on her to get in the car. She got in the car. Then the police had pulled up on us. And then I'm like, me and her got out the car. We like, "Excuse me, officer, what y'all behind us for?" They were like, "Because they say y'all was fighting." She said, "We was not fighting. We was playing in the store. We always play like that." And the man was like, "I gotta take you to jail anyway, Mr. Henderson." So I got scared. I ain't gonna lie, officer. I got scared of jail. So I took off running from the cops. I'm not gonna lie about that. I ran from because I was scared of jail.
Yeah, you did run from the cops, but I mean, it was, we got video evidence. It definitely was a lot of arguing. They have video evidence of you hitting her. I mean, I'm not getting your leg back, but that's not the way we do things, should do things in this society for sure. Okay, so were you under the influence of any alcohol or drugs at that time?
No, sir.
Did you have 2 shots?
No, sir. I don't drink.
Okay, you don't drink? Okay, you do any drugs?
No, sir.
You hadn't done any since you got out?
No, sir.
What, is she here today to testify or not?
She's supposed to be on here, my wife. She was trying to get on. I don't know if she got on. I don't know if she on with my mother. I don't know. I know she's supposed to be on here.
All right, yeah, because we would definitely like to ask her some questions. Um. So you charged with 3 counts. How many times did you run from? I know you
I
ran.
I ran from about a gas station, and I had ran from by the gas station, from in a neighborhood when another officer seen me, told Mr. Henderson, stop running, you're making it worse. I took off running again, and then I had went by a job site where I used to work at, and I was just like, I was just hiding out right there. Then I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna just give up. Just fuck it. I'm just gonna give up, bro. And I just went out there and gave up. And
Okay. All right, well, we got, like I said, I'm gonna be honest with you, we got a little bit conflicting video evidence from what you're saying.
I know.
I have further questions.
Okay. Mr. Henderson, we'd like to hear from your mother, Ms. Melba Parks. Ms. Parks?
Hi, I'm here.
All right.
I'm
What-
Melba Parks. I'm
Yes.
Melba Parks. I'm Antone Henderson mom. I had went to the site that day. Well, first of all, I want to introduce myself. I'm his mom, and I just want to speak on his behalf. I don't know, would this help? But I went out to the scene that day because I was on the phone with him that whole morning, and I know that they didn't have a problem because I talked to her. I spoke with her prior to them headed to Laplace. He went to give her a ride before he go to work, and I spoke with him and her because he asked me for gas money, and this is her calling me right now, and I know we on the Zoom meeting. But she tried to get me to come pick her up, but I didn't know the exact location just now where she was at, so she can get on Zoom with me. But anyway, finish with the conversation. I had spoke with both of them that day, and it wasn't no fussing or they wasn't like into no argument that I know of. Only thing that I heard was, she saying that they was on their way and she was going to another job to look for, because her client, I think whoever she was working with, they lost she lost the client. So she was going somewhere else looking for another job. So it wasn't no bickering that I heard that morning. So then that evening, about 9:30 or 10 o'clock, that morning, I get another call, and that's her telling me that the police had them. I'm like, for what? And she like, well, we was playing with each other at the store, and she said the cops just rolled up on side of us and said that somebody called the police and said that we was out here fighting. Long story short, when I went there and I arrived and I spoke to the police officer, he told me that Mr. Henderson gave him his ID and identified himself. I said, well, why is you charging him with fleet for officer? Because this is at the time now that the officer, they have him on another street. So I'm talking to the officer that originally had stopped him. So he was telling me that they had got a call or whatever about them fighting. And he wanted to explain to me that he was going to give Antone a summons, but Antone took off running. I'm like, well, if you tell a person that you're not going to arrest them, I said, why would he run? So long story short, she was still sitting there and me and her and the police was talking, and she was explaining to him that they was playing. And he was like, they was playing when they pulled up. That's what the police officer was telling her. He was like, I seen y'all playing when I pulled up. You and him laughing with each other. So I'm like, well, how they get that out of, domestic?
Yeah, Ms. Parks, can you take about 30 seconds to wrap it up for us?
Yes, ma'am.
Go ahead. You can wrap it up.
I'm finished.
Oh, okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Mr. Henderson, anything you want to say before we turn it over to Ms. Baker?
Yes, ma'am. I just hope I don't get no violation today because the charge been dropped. This is my first time being on parole, first time getting in trouble on parole, and also I had got the charge dismissed. Like,
Okay, thank you. And Ms. Baker, go ahead.
Good morning. I'm so sad that Miss Tuco could not be there, but she was there for the preliminary hearing and it was tape recorded. And she gave her statement. At all times, she's always said the same thing, that they were playing. And if you watch the video, there's no audio connection to the video, so there's no way for any one of us to know what was said. But what was very interesting is, at the time the incident, there's no audio of what happened in the store. In fact, the police report is completely wrong as to what happened, who did this and who did that. They were acting as if the victim was the cashier, and that was totally wrong, and I pointed that out at the preliminary hearing. But what's the most important part is that when the incident happened, she did not say a word, nor did she do anything. She kept on doing her transaction, and that is significant because that is the indication that they were playing. So if she had been abused in some kind of way, or she had been hurt some kind of way, she would have responded in a manner that a person responds if they have been hurt or abused or been hit inappropriately. And I don't even believe that it was a hard hit because she never moved, she never reacted, she didn't say or anything like that. You don't see any of that. You can see that they were seriously playing. I also want to say that Mr. Henderson was working at the time of the incident, and he has been working since he was able to get back on his feet. And basically, we all thought that this was going to be a technical violation. We was kind of surprised that it went to the next level because the DA did drop the charges because of the information they obtained from the victim. And of course, he was wrong for running. He did freak out. He did get scared. But the catalyst that started all was the police arresting him or trying to arrest him for an offense that really was not criminal. It wasn't like he went out there and robbed somebody, raped somebody. He did nothing. None of those things. This was truly a moment in their own history. Maybe it's not appropriate love play, but if that's the case, then the proper procedure would be not to lock him up for the remainder of his time. The proper procedure would be maybe to have him to get some type of classes and learn, because that's what we're about, teaching. And they both need to learn that, maybe this is not the appropriate love play, and that because it could result in him having his parole revoked. So at this time, I would strongly request that you all look at the preliminary hearing, you listen to the preliminary hearing where Ms. Tuco gave her statement specifically in support of Mr. Henderson. It wasn't mixed up because we thought we was going to be at the St. John jail. And so by her not being able to be at the St. John jail, she didn't have Zoom, and we've been trying to figure out a way to make sure that she could talk to you all directly. But her statement has been very consistent all along, and she's in favor of Mr. Henderson being released. And I ask you to strongly, take that into consideration and release him.
All right, thank you, ma'am. We appreciate your presentation. Here to vote, Mr. Freeman?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Mr. Freeman.
Okay, we got two conflicting stories here. I watched all the tapes last night, and they were not played. And I'm gonna say that right off. If that's playing, they need to quit. Okay, that's not playing all that hoo-ha in the parking lot and then taking off running, and she's showing blood and the cops looking at her face. My vote today is to revoke due to video evidence and pleading guilty to 3 counts of resisting arrest.
Mrs. Ledoux.
I concur with my colleague.
And I do agree, based on the video evidence, my vote today is also to revoke. Good luck to you, sir. You'll be eligible to reapply for a reparole. We'll send you the instructions on how and when you can do that. That concludes our business in St. John. We're going to sign off at 11:13. Thank you so much.